This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm going to try something very different today with her. She is an amazing interior designer, and part of that starts with the consultation. When you're looking to change up your living space, you talk with her, get some insight, express what you want to do within your living space, and then she comes up with ideas and gets back to you, and that's kind of where it starts. So we're going to pick a random home. I just any like literally a random address. We're both looking at the same home, and she's going to tell us what are some of the things we can do. She's the woman behind Tab Interior Design, Trish Bonney, back on the program, our Professional of the Year. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm looking to upgrade my home. The home I don't own. This random place here that we found, which is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath in a suburb of New York. And I mean, I could tell you some things looking at these pictures that I might be thinking of doing. But would somebody come to you and say, I want to do something different, I'm not really sure what it is? Have you gotten that before, and then you share ideas with them?
Absolutely. We just had one this morning. So an initial meet and greet, that's when I'm teaching you about my process. It's an interview time for you to interview me and vice versa to see if we're a good fit. A consultation is where I'm actually giving you some suggestions. I say you get to pick my brain for a couple hours. It's similar to, you can also do a designer for a day. We walk through the entire house with you and give you a full write-up afterwards. But what I would say, if you're going to do a consultation with somebody, before you even make that appointment with myself or any other interior designer, step outside of your home and start from there. Have a notebook and write down all the questions that you want to ask so you can maximize the time. So there's a shorter consultation, 2 to 3 hours, or like I said, designer for a day, and so on and so forth. But start from the outside. Do you want to change paint colors? Do you want to change the light fixtures? Even want to ask about outdoor furniture. Walk all the way through the house, every single room, and do the same thing. All the questions that you want to ask, and go all the way to the backyard. We can help with all those spaces. So if you have that all ready to go before we even make that appointment, you are going to maximize that time and hopefully be able to hit every single aspect that you want to talk about.
Show up prepared.
Yes.
All right. Let's get into my home with quotation marks, air quotation marks around it. Trish, I want to look at my kitchen. Can you take a look at my kitchen from these pictures?
Yes.
And by the way, we just found a house for sale, and there's lots of pictures. So that's what we're referring to here. So I'm going to pretend I'm the owner. I'm going to tell you, I kind of like the colors in the kitchen where the cabinets are painted like a medium colored gray and steel appliances, and the lighter colored with some granite countertop. There's some backsplash going on there. Now, if I were to say to you, is this trending right now, this look? You would say.
So unfortunately, 50 Shades of Grey, that ship has sailed.
Oh.
So at the end of the day, this could affect how much money they get on this house, because everything in here is a different shade of gray. And I know it's staged to sell, but it's all different shades of gray. And it's just not everybody's cup of tea right now because it is very cold. Yeah. They also, it's hard for me to tell by the pictures. They do have a backsplash. Even the backsplash, the countertops, everything is gray. So you might be able to get a good deal on this particular space. But if you're buying it and you love it and you're going to be in here for 5 or more years, that's where I say don't worry about trends. Don't worry about neighbors or in-laws. Worry about what makes your heart sing. because you're the one paying the bills, so you are the one we need to appease. So if you like this, it's it is very simplistic. And like I said, it's kind of it's really cool. So you
Mm.
might want to add some warm tones or some color with the furniture, because the dining room is connected to the kitchen. So you have opportunity to be able to do that.
So let's,
Uh,
just for clarity, I'm not coming to you here to make this better so I can sell it. We're just using the pictures. The house is
yep.
for sale. Um, what what can you tell me that I could do, and maybe at different price points, to make? Maybe I'm going to come to you and say, yeah, kitchen's okay. We've had those cabinets gray for, I don't know, 5 years. I kind of over it, but I'm looking for ideas. What would you say initially, and within different price points? Obviously,
Yeah.
if I said money's no object, Trish, we'd get rid of those cabinets and do something else, I would imagine. But what could you do? What would you do? And we're starting with the kitchen here.
So these cabinets appear to be in good condition. So you have different opportunities. You could paint the cabinets.
Hmm.
They're already painted, so they can be painted again. You could replace them all. That's where you're obviously going up a level in cost.
Yep.
This is a pretty big kitchen. There's a lot of cabinets in there.
Yep.
If you're replacing cabinets, a general idea is each box, think about it being around $500. It also depends on the manufacturer that you're working with for the cabinets. 500 is a lower number, but you could go anywhere for 500 to 1,000 per box. So one box is like the sink base cabinet. That's one box. It's where it's not split in half. And they have a
Mm.
box flanking each side of the stove. So you could get a decent estimate, 500 to 1,000 per box.
So we're looking at minimum here,
There's a lot.
like a minimum $11,000. I just did quick math, in terms of the number
Uh,
of cabinets.
it's probably more than that one too.
I did minimum.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you could do this for 11
Uh,
unless you're using there. Let me step back. There are some cabinets that are pretty inexpensive that you might be able to do this for around that, but I would say a good starting point is at least
Yeah.
20,000.
Yeah.
And because it also, I can't really see, but it does turn a corner, and I don't know how far those cabinets go around the corner too.
There's
But
another picture, so it goes past the kitchen sink.
yeah,
But even counting, I counted like 22 boxes, and I'm guessing what a
yeah.
box consists of. But again, bare
So
minimum.
yeah, bare minimum is probably around 22,000
Mm. Now
if you're
painting
replacing
it,
them.
if we
Paint.
were to paint it, try to save
Uh-huh.
some money. It's already painted gray, and it's funny when I first was describing this, I wanted to say battleship gray. What do you get from a battleship? Cold, cold
Yeah.
vibe, cold feeling. Um, what color would you make them? I have an idea, but I'm going to throw it to you. What would you make them?
Um, I always give three options for every single aspect. So if you wanted to have a little more fun, you could do the lowers in one color and the uppers in another. And
Mm,
typically, because there are some full height cabinets where it goes from floor to ceiling, I include those floor to ceiling ones with the lowers. So it's typically you can have a darker color on the bottom and lighter on top. But if you really want to draw the eye up to visually make things appear taller, you can do dark on top and lighter on the bottom.
mm.
Um, Taupe or a mushroom color is very popular right now. So if you wanted to do taupe and like a nice warm white, like a cream, not a yellow white, but that would make it a lot warmer. And I think it would still work with the existing countertops and backsplash. If you want to actually do color, you could do, and when I say green, I don't mean like emerald green, but maybe like more of an olive tone or a sage, kind of like what's on my chair.
Hmm.
Um, and then you could still do the uppers in cream. If you're switching these out, I would do more wood on the bottom and maybe just cream on the top. And the wood, what's been really popular, I'm trying to find one around me right away, is maybe not this dark, maybe a little bit lighter, but the warm chocolate has been really popular. Just I would stay away from red or orange tone or yellow toned woods, but that would really make it really more luxurious and warmer and would still work with the existing countertops, backsplash, and the flooring as well.
Hmm. Um, it's funny. If we go to the living room now, the color, and you got to go a few pictures in, and this is an interesting
Yeah.
layout because you have the stairs leading up, but then on the back side of the
Yeah.
stairs, you have a door that leads to the basement. And
Yeah.
that color on that side of the stairs was actually sort of the tone that I was thinking of making the cabinets.
Ooh,
That
the
blue.
bright teal.
Um, it,
Well, in one picture, it looks bright teal. I think the sun is hitting it. It's actually like a dark blue.
yes, because I just saw what you're looking at the teal there, and I'm like, whoa, like what's going on there? like, yeah, it's got to be the light because that is so. Or let's be honest. Real estate agent might have processed these pictures, and
Yeah,
that's color went astray a little while, a little bit.
a little bit.
But yeah, just the darker one, the darker, more
Yeah,
reserved one, if you will.
yeah. So that blue would be nice. Again, I would do that on the lowers, and
Okay.
then maybe the uppers are the cream, or that would look nice with a more taupe color because in the kitchen, the living room has hardwood floors that are existing. In the kitchen, they put in, it looks like LVT or LVP, and it's kind of a taupey mushroom color. So blue and taupe play really well together, or blue and cream. Um, Blue is always, so black and white are your most very solid traditional colors. Blue has always been around. There's always a shade of blue in popularity. In the 70s, it was more of a teal. In the 80s, it was country blue. In the 90s,
Hmm.
it was a little more brilliant. In the 2020s, it's darker, more moody blue. So it's always been a color that is safe if you want something that is more timeless. So you could definitely keep that blue on that stair, those stair walls and introduce that into the kitchen.
In this, I'm going to call it an open concept living room area, which
Yeah.
it's an interesting layout because you come through the front door, you can go up the stairs, or then you go around it and you go down the stairs into the basement, and it's all kind of enclosed there. And then there's a room that leads to where there's a piano, and it's
Mhm.
sort of just like a separate little sitting room, and that's where the front door is. Um,
Yeah.
what what would you suggest to change this up?
Probably a lot because this is strange. Typically people are watching a TV in the sitting room and there's no place, the way they have this arranged, they're all facing and staring at the stairwell or the door going down into the basement. Um,
Yep.
so the furniture needs to be taken off the walls, and I would probably, so if you look at the picture that has the really bright, it looks like teal,
Yep. Yep.
I would float the sofa and kind of, you're not making a wall, but you're dividing the spaces. But I would float it closer to the stairwell and have the TV wall where they have a piece of artwork.
Gotcha.
And they've got a really funky light that is really low next to. So at one point in life, the dining room was probably where they have the larger sofa right
Ah,
now.
that's what that light was. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, that was for a dining table. I'm surprised they left that in there because that's way too low.
Right.
Yeah. So there's some interesting staging happening in this space.
It almost looks like it was, there might have been a wall dividing things and they took it down possibly at one point. Um,
Yeah.
but, I'm just going to say, as the homeowner, it feels off, Trish. I don't know what it is, but it feels off. So,
Well, I don't know what year this house is, but I think you're exactly right. There was more division in the rooms,
mm,
which it's okay. I mean, there was a time period where everybody wanted to open up everything to everything. And now, especially after the pandemic, people realize it just gets excessively loud. And a lot of people are working still from home, and these open spaces are not conducive of that type of lifestyle.
sure.
So if this were my home, I might close these spaces off again because right now it's not making a lot of sense. The center of the room is centered around a stairwell. So having some walls dividing, I think would actually be better. I think the front room where the piano was probably like a really nice mud room or an office space, or because I'm assuming that door to the side is going to the outside, but it would make more sense to close that in because if there's a closet in there as well. They just got rid of a bedroom.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm thinking the same exact. As soon as you said it, I'm thinking the same exact thing because it looks like a bedroom type closet door on there, and it
yeah,
was enclosed, and
yeah,
they open it up, and it's kind of weird. Like, what's that room? What is that room? It's a piano in
yeah,
there
I'm not
and
sure,
nothing
but
else.
yeah, but I think this is where they probably lived here for a long period of time. This fit their lifestyle. And I also see they've got it listed for 7 bedrooms. So if there truly is 7 other bedrooms, they probably didn't need this one, and that's why they opened it up. But when you get rid of bedrooms, you actually can lessen the value of your home. So I agree with you. They opened up the wall because you can see exactly where it was. You can even see where they tied in new flooring.
Mm,
So me personally, I would probably put that back as its own room because it's a nice office space. It's a
sure.
nice bedroom, especially a first floor if you have in-laws that need to move in with you. Um, I think that was a miss by taking
It's
out
like
that
a
wall.
it's like a throwaway room at this point. It's
Yeah.
almost just like we got extra space, so let's just open it up. Okay, well, what are you doing with it? All it is a wider area to go down the hallway, and um,
Yeah.
so I don't want to run out of time. But
Yes.
instead of going to another room now, take us through the design process. I was picking your brain as the homeowner here, and some things that we could do. What happens? What happens next when somebody comes before you for a consult?
So if they just want to do this consultation, like I said, I have them write up that list. But after the consultation, and typically this is because they're still not sure if they want to work with a designer, not feeling trust in me or what we do. But if they want to go forward and actually start working with us, then of course you have contracts and stuff like that. But we always show 3 options for every single aspect. So for example, we could do floor plans where we show the walls, putting walls back in place. Um, we could do space planning. We could, formally introduce new furniture because let's say you're moving into this house, you have no furniture that fits the space, and the space is odd the way it is. So we can help you with custom furniture. Just because I say custom doesn't mean it's more expensive. It actually is very similar to big box stores. But that's where we would start really going through the process of designing for the space. The consultations, you get to pick my brain. I give you ideas on the spot. I write up a report afterwards, and I might throw in, like, if I saw something really quick, I know you're not going to go forward with anything else. I might give you a link to something to give you an idea. Um, The woman that was here earlier, I gave her some links for colors and stuff like that in a room so she can visualize it better. But if you wanted renderings before you commit to doing any construction, we can perform those as well.
Wow. And certainly color. That's what I think is the only change in color on these walls is that
That blue.
that blue. Like, I don't get it. Like, how about an accent wall? Why to divide it up without dividing walls up? Why didn't they put
Yeah.
some color, one color on one wall, another color on the other? Nothing radical. Take that blue that's on the stairwell that I'm not a designer, but all I'm going to say here is you're calling attention to this weird thing in the middle of the room. So you made it blue. Why don't you just put a sign on it? This is a weird stairwell. Put that on there.
Yeah.
And why not focus your attention away from that and then take that blue color and put that on one of the walls?
I really think it was a staging miss. And maybe a real estate agent told them before we put it on the market, maybe they did have color, more color, but they neutralized the other areas because you're right. There's no stopping of the walls. The gray just went all the way around.
Yeah.
But he was okay with the blue on the stairwell. But you're right. It screams attention to the column in the middle of the space. But the staging of the furniture around that column makes it even worse, to be honest.
Yeah.
And staging is something we can help too, because it looks like they staged with existing furniture.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can stage virtually, you and I, and we could have figured out a better way to do that.
And we're looking at it two different ways here, where you could support somebody to sell a house and get premium price, or somebody's not selling the house. They just want to make it more comfortable, make some changes. So
Right.
two different ways to look at it. It's almost with that, not to go back to the stairwell and that, crazy blue color. But it's almost as if the furniture is running away from it. If the furniture was human, it'd be like, I'm running
Yeah.
away from that, the stairwell and everything. Let me go over here and get as far away to the walls as I can. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's got COVID.
Yeah.
Like that thing's got COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. They literally outlined around the stairwell.
Right. Right. They run from the stairs, not up the stairs. Interesting exercise here. And we've covered quite a bit in these rooms, but we didn't even get to the other ones, like
Right.
the bathrooms, the bedrooms, and all of that. But certainly, gives an idea of how the whole process works. And final question here: the outside. Would you be able to, take a look at the exterior while we're, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
were doing this process with
Yeah.
somebody?
Yeah. The exterior, again, I think it's all gray. But there's no light on the exterior next to that entry door. Maybe add a light fixture. Yeah, I
Hmm.
don't think there's any lights near any of the outdoors. If they
Interesting.
are, they're really tiny, but you could have contrasted by putting up like maybe a black light fixture, because if they are there, they must be silver or white because I can't. Oh, I see a close-up one. Now I see them. Yeah, they're silver or white. A contrasting color would have been nice. Um, but other than that, they've got a pool, they've got some furniture outside with a nice deck. I just would have done some contrasting colors to give it some more interest. There's
Yeah.
not
Well,
a lot of interest.
I don't know the full story of this house. Again, we just randomly found this house in the suburb of New York, literally random. But here's my thing. They probably should have called you, because I just realized that this house has been on the market for 453 days. So
Oh, wow.
in this area, there's no inventory. This should have been, and even at that price, should have been snapped up right away. Unless there was an issue here. There has to be an issue. There
There
has to
has
be
to
an
be
issue.
some kind of issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It-
would say so. But again, we're in a virtual world and people are looking online, and it could be that this is so not trending. They're just swiping by it.
mm,
Um, because nothing really calls out
yeah.
exceptional. It's a nice size house.
Yeah, it
It's just
really is.
does have a weird layout, but um,
Hmm.
if something doesn't grab you immediately, you just kind of swipe.
I always like to cut some slack because we don't know the full story of it, but I'll tell you a very quick story. I have a marketing company. Somebody reached out to me and they couldn't sell the house and was on the market for 300 something days. Why? Because they had a squatter. And once it's
Oh,
listed, you can't take that off. So they eventually, squatter got kicked out by a judge and they had to pay them 10 grand to the squatter. And they still weren't getting any traction on it. I did a social media campaign, not exaggerating, cost $600. I actually gave the money back because I had the house in contract. I'm not exaggerating, in 3 days. But
yeah, that's awesome.
we left it up there for 11 and we got 11 days and we got like 18 other leads. And since this is last November, house is sold and everything. So there's a story with this. We don't know what the story is, but maybe the story is just what you said. People aren't into what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's a reason there.
Yeah.
The shame though, because it's a kind of nice house, you know, and I would say in this
Yeah.
area fairly priced.
Yeah. I'd be curious if they just restaged it, put some color into the house,
Yes.
and brought it to life, and
Yeah.
maybe change out some things on the exterior to just grab your eye, where it would go from there.
Yeah. And look at how much money they lost in 400 something days. You know, they're still making
That's a lot.
payments on it and maybe they wanted to move. This was fun. Very interesting learning this whole process. And
Yeah.
didn't even think of it. The other design part of it, you helping stage a home if somebody's trying to sell it, if you want to get top dollar. Tabinteriordesigns.com to learn more with Trish. Thank you for today. Really had fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.